Hello and welcome to the Comic-spiracy, episode 579 for the week of Sunday, March 5th, 2023. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who is here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
And Kevin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I did not expect Lane or Toby to jump on this week only because they are up in sunny Portland. Portland? No, Seattle. Seattle. Yeah, sunny Seattle.
They're there for the Green
City Comic-Con. Yeah, they should be. Hopefully they're both on next week. I'm talking about the con because
seems like people are enjoying it from what I've seen on social media.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if people backed out or if it was just always a lighter attendance, but it definitely seems like it's smaller than it kind of was pre-pandemic and maybe fewer guests. Hard to know. I'll see what they say once. I'm just judging from guest lists and pictures I've seen. I don't know what it's actually like on the floor, but we'll find out when they get back. We got a couple news stories to talk about this week. Some comic stuff to talk about. Actually, I posted about it. It's official. I should talk about this too for a few minutes. So I've completely lost my mind.
Oh,
years ago, me and Kevin here talked about. There's a lot of comic book news websites out there, and they're not great. Some of them are. Some of them out. There's some good ones out there. I like Comics Beat. I like Popverse. If you check them out, Popverse, they have some really good people over there. I like Sketched. Right. David runs that as independent guy. There's good elements of even even Bleeding Cool has some good parts. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of these sites are very it's a website owned by a company to be profitable, right? That's what they are.
You can say clickbaity.
Some of them are to a degree. Not Popverse isn't. Comic Speed isn't. Right? They don't. They avoid that for the most part. AIPT, I like them too. All right, AIPT, yeah, AIPT. Yeah, sorry, I always get the lettering mixed up. They're really good, but they cover a lot of stuff, right? It's not just comics. It's not just comic book news. It's movies and TVs, obviously, right? Science fiction, fantasy, Pokemon, wrestling. All right, toys. These sites have to cover a ton of stuff.
Is what they cover.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it's nerd culture stuff, right? A couple of years back, I remember talking to Kevin and just being like, "Do I just have to start our own site? Like, do I have to do this myself?"
Yeah. Well, luckily, we did something way less labor intensive instead. I'm looking back on those as the good old days when you pitched that.
Yeah. So, over the last couple months, I've been thinking about this more. And when I was out with COVID a couple of weeks back, again, I was fine. I talked about this. We recorded last week, right? Yes, we recorded last week.
Yeah, we recorded. You said you didn't want. Leanne wasn't feeling too good, so you didn't want to record. But
Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to feel, so we just get right. Okay, yeah, I talked about this. I was fine. I was perfectly, again, 95% fine. And I had a lot of free time, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start this news website and see what I can do on my own." Again, this isn't some big massive project. I'm not writing original content. There's no opinions. There's no reviews. That's not what this is. But there's also no ads. There's no wrestling or Pokemon or Funko Pops or there will be very little media news. I mean, major press releases, major announcements, sure, but that's it, right? Like no opinions, no rumors, no anything. This isn't about money. That's not what this is. The reason I decided to do this was, and I'll get to the site in a second, is I already kind of do this for the store on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'll post news stories of comic stuff that gets announced. The problem is Facebook has a layout, Instagram has a layout, Twitter has a layout, and none of them are the same, right? They all conflict with each other. And so whenever I have to post some news. It's like, all right, Facebook gets the full text and images, but the reach of Facebook's minimal because of the way their fucking shit works. Twitter gets a bigger reach, but you can't post long form content and only a limited amount of images. Instagram gets, who knows? You can post as kind of as much text as you want. There is an upper limit, but it's not that low. And you can post a lot of images, but they're cropped. So again, it's all, none of these things are the same. So it's like, what if I just made like a news blog for just comic book news? So press releases and major announcements, right? I already had to post this stuff anyway on the site, and I end up not posting a lot of it because it's a pain in the ass to do. And so I said, what if I just, easy WordPress blog, website, simple, nothing complicated, post stuff. And then I could just link out to that. So I'm not having to change. Okay, Popverse posted this article, Newsarama posted this one, AIPT posted this other thing, right? Because they don't all post the same stuff. They don't post everything. They're not going to post every random press release from comic companies. And I already get a lot of these press releases. Not a lot. I get a decent amount. I'm trying to get more. I've got my name on a few lists now in the last couple of weeks. So hopefully I'll get more and more of these as they come in. And I tested it out, and I was like, I could do this like real quick. It's just copy, paste, load up the images, done. All right. It's pretty simple. Like, it doesn't take that long to do this end of it. So I started a website called justcomicnews.com because it's just comic news. That's all it is. It's comic book news. It's simple. It's nothing fancy. It's easy. It's quick.
Not to be confused with JC News, which is Jesus Christ News.
Oh, maybe. JCN's my little logo,
network.
right? Yeah, JCN, Just Comic News,
powered by the assholes at Comics Conspiracy.
So it's on Twitter at Just Comic News. It's on Facebook as Just Comic News, right? Just go look it up. I'm not going to repost stuff. I'm not out there to get clicks or make money. There's no ads. I mean, if I end up running up against bandwidth caps, maybe I'll put like a Ko-Fi link or something. But this isn't in support of the store. Like, this isn't a thing where I'm going to be like profiting off of this. I don't want to spend any money on it, but I don't want to. I'm not here to make a bunch of money on this thing. So yeah, I'm fucking crazy. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. I don't know why the hell I took on this project, but it goes with the stuff I do on a daily basis anyway for the store. So I was like, yeah, I might as well do it. And then I just posted to the store. It's somehow easier than what I'm already doing because because
you're centralizing the content and then linking it to that versus trying to centralize the content to each social media platform.
Yeah. I could just, it's a quick copy and paste, load up the gallery if I need a gallery, if there's multiple images. It literally takes a minute or two. And I was spending at least that much time reformatting stuff for Facebook, moving it over to Twitter, putting something on Twitter, reformatting for Instagram, loading it up, like easily the same amount of time, if not more. So this is my new thing. Maybe I just won't post some days, and I'll catch up on the news.
I want to say something, but it's a really bad joke.
I don't know. Well, if it's offensive, save it for after the podcast. If it's just a bad joke,
it's a bad joke.
It doesn't stop you any other time.
No, this is true. So you're just sharing your tool with everybody.
I'm sharing my what?
Your tool with everybody.
My tool?
You use it as a tool for the shop. It's something that you're utilizing to make everything easier. It's a tool.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just...
it fits with our old mascot. Go for it. The conspiracy guy?
Just way over my head. Anyway.
Conspiracy guy?
Sure. Anyway, so yeah, Just Comic News. Maybe I'll reference them occasionally when I'm doing this podcast because it'll be an easy place for me to look at press releases when things get announced. Look at that. Oh, it's even helpful for the podcast. Amazing.
Maybe I'll even link some of Kevin Sharp's wonderful interviews on there.
Well, so that's nothing against Kevin Sharp's wonderful interviews, but that's not the point of it.
Yeah,
That's not I'm
news.
not going to. Right, that's not what I'm going to. I'm not going to repost stuff from other websites. That's
what if Kevin Sharp got news from it?
That's not what this is.
I know.
If Kevin wants to do something, that's different. But for absolutely zero pay,
exactly. I have a hole in my schedule, Ryan. I think I can squeeze in.
But the idea here is 100% to just take the existing press releases that come out from the publishers and have a place for them
organize
all.
Them so it's just that content versus
it's just the news coming out. So like Disney posted. So I'm not on Disney's like news press release stuff, but it's very easily accessible. I see it all the time. So they post a press release for like Ant-Man numbers opening weekend. I posted that because it popped up and it was right there. Copy paste done, simple, right, easy. If I see something like that I'm not I'm not already getting their press releases, like I can do that. That's fine. But I'm not writing anything. I'm not changing anything. The most I am doing is updating.
Are you going to be able to have the solicitations?
No. So solicitations, my only reason for not doing that is because that is an absolutely gargantuan task to organize the images and everything, and that would probably kill my bandwidth cap, because there's a fuckload of images that come with solicitations, and that would probably get too many hits. If it's done right. That would take a significant amount of time. So, but again, most new books are put out as press releases anyway, so the new stuff will get posted. The solicitations down the road, maybe. If it is something where I could literally just copy paste and it's there, then I guess. But
did you do
reformatting to put to insert those images in every break? Like that is, it's not hard. It's just time consuming, and I'm not doing that.
What about FOC lists?
It's the same thing. It's just not. That's not the point of it. So it's not the point of it. You know, if there is something down the road where Comic Hub has the ability to, this stuff goes live on Comic Hub at the same time it's getting announced, I could see maybe linking to like our store pre-order page for it to try to get revenue that way. But that would be like the extent of it. And that's, again, usually not how it works. Things get announced and then they're not available to order. They're not available to order for weeks, and then they don't ship for months. So yeah, stuff like that. FOC list, again, it's kind of outside the realm of what I want to do. If someone put together a fully accessible list that I could take every week, maybe, but I'm not doing the work for that. So
no, I was just wondering, because it was one of those things that, like, that's kind of news. Like, hey, this stuff is...
Yeah, but it's not, right? And so solicitations would be, but that's, again, I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing with this, and I have no idea what it's going to be like in 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 years. I have no clue. I just started.
So you're telling me you're going to sell it to one of the big companies for $1 billion down the road because it's going to be like an RS feed, like.
Oh yeah, and there's an RSS feed too. Yeah, I mean, so I just pop it in the Feedly. I just pop the URL in the Feedly, and it takes it immediately, and it just pops out an RSS. Like, you don't need to do anything with it. If someone has trouble with it on an RSS feed, let me know. But I just put the URL in, and it works because it's a newspress blog. So it just auto RSS feeds to the Feedly, at least. So that's the one I use. I think that's one most people use. My Google Reader's dead, so. It should just work. But yeah, if something doesn't work, let me know. And it's pretty light on personality. Like, I may add some stuff occasionally, but yeah, I don't expect that to do anything major design wise to the site. But I'll poke around occasionally and update stuff when it needs it. So. And it's funny because I posted about this Friday morning, great feedback, got a lot of a lot of people following already. And then like literally nothing else happened all day. So I had no news on Friday. There was just nothing happened. Nothing got announced. So I was like, yep, this is what's going to happen. And then nothing gets announced over the weekend. So it's not like you're getting constant. It just goes up once. I'm not reposting shit. Like it just goes up when it goes up and it's there and it's done. And it's maybe worth something checking out at the end of the week and scrolling through and seeing all the announcements for the week. And that's all you got to do. Again, this is not this isn't a revenue generating thing. This is
you're not trying to get eyeballs. You're not trying to get eyeballs and views and
promote and user
interaction, all that. You're just like, nope. It's what you need. And that's one of the things that you don't like about the other websites is there's nothing like this on them. But it's there, but it's buried in the clickbait stuff. It's buried in the interviews. It's buried in everything.
And I understand, right? I mean, there was did we talk about this, right? That the like on Comic Resources, the number of hits they got on their bullshit quote unquote junk food articles was like 10 times or more anything they got on actual news, right? So like people like that stuff. That's fine. I don't care. That's just not what I care about and not what I want to do. So I made something that worked for what I want. And if people find it useful, cool. And if people don't, that's fine too.
You know what we need? You know what we need to do?
What do we need to do?
Stickers. We need just comic news stickers.
No.
Yeah.
No to any of this. No.
Just comicnews.com stickers. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Just start slapping them up. Yeah.
No. No spoilers. No lists. No rumors.
Comic news, man.
No wrestling, no Pokemon, no Funko Pops, no games, no video game. Very, very, very few video games.
It has to be comic book related. So if it was a
very
Fortnite
minimal,
comic or
very minimal.
comic,
if something gets announced and I get a press release, sure. And the Suicide Squad game gets announced, sure, I'll post about that. That's cool. Some fucking match 3 Marvel bullshit. No, fuck off. No, I'm not posting that. No, that's bullshit. Marvel announces a new movie. Yeah, sure, I'll post that. Random casting for a backup actor in the 3rd episode of a TV show. No, I'm not going to post that. I don't care about that.
How about casting rumors?
No. Again, yeah, no, I'm not writing anything. No.
You're literally pasting press releases.
Just press releases. Yeah. I will even if it was like, here's the episode trailer for next week's episode of Flash or whatever. No, I'm not posting that. Like, no, that's out of the realm of what this is. I will like major entertainment stuff. That's different. But he's going
to post
very minimal.
Very minimal. The trailer drops for Superman Legacy. It's posted up there.
Maybe. But again,
posting that is gonna make you have something in common with every other site because everyone would post that.
Yeah, maybe the announcement of something,
So you're gonna put the video up of the announcement of the trailer, but not the actual trailer.
No, I mean if something gets announced and I get a press release for it, sure. But again, I don't know. I haven't really decided with that stuff. But that is not the point. That is not the point. And again, it'd be very minimal for that type of stuff if I do it at all. But sure, Vault announces a new comic book that's getting up there, right? I get a press release for it, that's going up. So that's what it is. That's what it's for. So check it out. I'll bring it up occasionally if anything changes, how we're doing about it. But for this week, I'm referencing all sorts of other comic news sites because I'm not talking about the new issue of a comic book that's coming out. I'm talking about random other news that will not be covered on our... It's funny because the podcast talks about stuff that will generally not be covered by our site. Because it's I want to say it's more interesting, but it's more than just solicitation info and, new and major announcements. Because there is other news that will not...
Solicitation info is what's going to bring in the peoples.
Sure, and that's right, but that's what I mean. It's not, that's not.
Kevin, you've been working on your announcer voice.
Well, there's no
just to read off some press releases.
There's no audio or podcast element to it, so
just grab that press release.
That could be your new podcast, Ryan. Is just a narration of press releases, like every week, every episode is just that week's press releases all read.
Read it all, or just read it all. 6 hours
get,
of
guest readers
audio
to come in.
Slow news week, slow podcast topic week. We just read off a press release.
Yeah.
Bonus this week for Patreon subscribers: every press release read by Toby.
Oh God. Drunker. He'll take a shot after every press release.
You got to sneak Ryan Reynolds' name in there, like just.
Yeah, he'll take a shot after every press release. Well, in actual news, interesting news, not just regurgitated press releases that nobody cares about. Comics Pro meeting was last week. And there wasn't much news out of it, but one interesting thing that caught my eye from a retailer point of view, and this might be boring to everyone listening, but trust me, you're gonna want to hear. You're gonna want to know this info. There's stuff to this. Diamond Comics, which is was the major distributor for comics in North America. Marvel is now with Penguin Random House. Diamond is now with DC Comics is now with Lunar Distribution. A couple new small press companies have gone with Lunar exclusively. Other independent companies have left Diamond's exclusive nature and moved over to Lunar, like Vault and Scout and Oni and a few others. IDW has left Diamond. Now, Diamond still does distribute some of these books, but secondary distribution. So exclusive primary distribution is Penguin Random House for Marvel, IDW, and very soon Dark Horse. This week we order our very first Dark Horse trade paperbacks from Penguin Random House. We can order them from Diamond at a lower discount because they are a sub-distributor. So most stores will be ordering from Penguin Random House. Bleeding Cool actually had a pretty good breakdown of Diamond's coverage from Comics Pro, and kind of an interesting market shift that I think most people are aware of. Diamond has shrunk significantly, but Diamond's kind of parent company has a lot of other companies that work within the same office space, and Alliance Distribution, which is their gaming distribution company, has significantly grown in recent years as Diamond Comics has significantly shrunk in recent years. So at the end of the day, it appears like that stuff's actually going to kind of work out because this is a Bleeding Cool. A number of companies have moved into the shared workspace that used to be only occupied by Diamond, and we'll be reducing our space by 60%. So Diamond is shrinking to 40% of the size it used to be. But the additional space is being taken up by other companies, and including Alliance again, which is seen significant growth, as gaming has seen significant growth in recent years. So Diamond, as far as like whatever problems it is having, it is not being necessarily seen across the company, the wider company end. So, which is good news for Diamond, because Diamond can function and there's hopefully no fear of bankruptcy or going out of business or anything like that, because Diamond shrinks, Alliance grows, the money's still there, the parent company could still fund everything. There's also, if you're a regular at your comic store and talk to them about the weekly shipments or any of this stuff, you may have heard from some retailers, probably most retailers, that there's lots of frustrations with Diamond as far as shipping and shipping charges goes. They have significantly higher shipping charges than any other company, to the point of I can walk into a store. Now, we use a different company to ship, so we don't have this problem. We pay more, than we should, but it's less than these people, less than everyone else, and we have something else that gets us the books on time. It's fine. We're not affected by this. But if I walked in, Diamond would ship me a box. And that box would be like $80 from Diamond. If I turned around and walked into a UPS store and shipped that box back to Diamond, it would be like $40. So Diamond is profiting off their shipping, overcharging, adding absorbent handling fees. Nobody is really sure. Diamond is doesn't discuss this often, despite...
No, they're not going to discuss it because... That it's like if you look at the shipping costs across the board for things, I see this like on Kickstarters as well. Like there's items that like I know how much it would cost to ship those items. I know the boxes they use, and it's like you want to charge how much to ship that? Like handling fees are disgusting.
Well, if you need an extra $1 or $2 for the box and $1 or $2 for time, I'm fine. But if it's a book and you're trying to charge $28 to ship or something like that. So there's something funky going on here, right? Mm-hmm. Diamond would ship what could easily fit into one box with room. Diamond would put in 2 boxes and charge more to ship, right? So the concern here is that they're trying to profit off the shipping, which I have not seen, but we go through a different service, so this has not really affected me. Well, they are apparently they have new contracts with UPS and FedEx, which will lower shipping charges by about 20%. And then in a few months, they believe they'll be able to lower shipping charges by another 20%. So getting you closer to what the actual shipping cost is. Now, why this is important to customers? A number of stores have basically stopped ordering non-essential products from Diamond or reordering products from Diamond. So the new books is not a concern, but if you're trying to restock something, reorder something, get books back in stock that only Diamond has, a lot of stores have stopped ordering from Diamond. So hopefully this will increase the stock levels of Diamond exclusive carried products at stores. So this would be Image comics, graphic novels in backstock, select small press people that only go through Diamond, some toys, some statues, some merchandise, things like that. So yeah, Diamond's weird, but I mean, I guess if the parent company's okay, that's fine. Jeppy fan, Jeppy, yeah, see Jeppy, Geppi, yeah. It's Geppy, right?
I think it's with like a J sound.
Yeah, Steve Jeppy, right?
I think so.
That's Jeppy Family Enterprises. That's the owner, and that's the parent company. So I hope they're okay, right? I mean, Diamond is still a pretty important part of the comic industry. It's different. I wouldn't say less. I'll say it's differently important now.
Well, they're no longer the crappy shippers. They're the middle of the road shippers. Because Lunar
much better than it used to be.
Lunar ships the best, then it's Diamond, then it's Penguin Random House.
Well, it's Lunar, then Diamond, and then 4 rabid dogs delivering your packages across the tundra.
Alliance. Who do we order?
And then
BCW.
and then it's Penguin Random House.
BCW. Who else do we order from? Ingram.
Anyone and everyone. Oh, Ingram's great. Anyone and everyone, and then Penguin Random House is the worst by far.
Was that brought up at Comics Pro again?
Apparently. New box is coming. 4th time's the charm. We'll see what happens. Third box?
Well, what I don't understand is
box.
What I don't box. This time, I think they're like on box 3.
I think they're on 3. I think the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th
version is coming.
But what's hilarious is retailers for 2 years now have been screaming, "Here's a picture of how you should pack it. Pack like this," and they try to do everything imaginable not to do that thing. It baffles my mind.
Yeah, it's real bad. Yep.
I think they're trying to beat Amazon when it comes to shipping paper book material type things.
What? Oh, yeah. They're pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know what.
How many times do you click on something on Amazon and it's a book, and you go, "Yeah, I don't want to deal with the return."
Yeah, they're pretty good. I don't think Amazon's fine. It's just a pain in the ass if you're buying stuff and you want it in good shape. Don't buy it from Amazon. Maybe you'll get it good, maybe, but you probably won't.
Statistically, anything I've ordered book-wise off of Amazon for a good 5 years has been, I've just auto hit return the second I get it put on my stoop. I look at the package and I go, oh look, a Bubba mailer again where it can bounce around and get beat up.
Yeah.
Oh look, this is bent in half because it was sitting on a robot shelf and picked up by a claw, not a human being.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Some non-comic news that would, maybe some of this would be covered on Just Comic News.
Oh, jeez.
At least one. If I got this press release, I would put this one up. I'm going to start with this one first. I'm going to contact Warner Entertainment. If I got this press release, I would put this up because this is important, very important comic-related news. Warner Brothers and DC is going to be reissuing. This is now, I think, the third or fourth in their series of fully remastered early DC cartoons, and they're finally going, and we're finally getting it. The Max Fleischer Superman theatrical shorts are getting fully remastered, released on Blu-ray. Additional special features that were on other releases, plus a brand new featurette on the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons. Kevin, you've seen some of the screenshots?
Yeah. They had a
beautiful.
The Fleischer estate had a panel at Comic-Con last year, also
with some of the stuff.
Where they were showing just a bunch of the cartoons that are being worked on.
Yeah,
looks beautiful. Bring it.
Yeah. So they've done Aquaman, Batman Adventures, Adventures of Batman. Right,
that 70s show, right? That's
yeah. And the Aquaman one, right? They remastered the Filmation one. Is this the third one? Am I missing one?
Are you counting that? Well, didn't they do Superboy and Superman? Did they the 70, or it may be
they remaster those two?
Remastered is a term I'm not going to be able to answer. I'm just saying things that. You're talking about on Blu-ray.
A Blu-ray.
Okay, I'm picturing the DVD sets.
No, no, they've done them all on DVD.
Yeah.
But I know they redid the Adventures of Batman. They redid Aquaman because Aquaman, I think, was on HBO Max. I don't know if that came out yet. I'd have to double check. But the Max Fleischer cartoons are, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure the Fleischer cartoons are in public domain now, right?
Yeah, that's why there's so many shitty versions over the years, because anybody could put out a DVD.
Yeah, so don't buy those. Buy this. Yeah. Buy the official Warner Brothers release. This fully remastered, special features.
They're amazing.
This is the version to
They're
get.
Amazing. Anybody who hasn't seen them, they are truly great.
Yeah, it's
the only Fleischer cartoons I like better than Superman, and I can't even believe I'm saying this because I'm not a fan of this character, but these cartoons are so great as Popeye. The 1930s, it was maybe like an 8-year run or something like that. Now they've put out Popeye cartoons. I'm talking about the ones from maybe 1930 to 1936, somewhere in there. Those are not on Blu-ray. They are on DVD, but those cartoons are jaw-dropping. Truly, truly, truly great. But Superman is a fantastic consolation prize.
Yeah, I remember watching these, years ago, when I'm thinking, maybe they came in on VHS or something like that, and just being like, "What? This is a cartoon from the 40s?" Right. It just looks so different than everything else.
I don't want to think about how many versions I've owned of these cartoons over the years.
Oh yeah. Well, because of that man. In a place where I weirdly deviate from the opinions of a lot of people.
A place. Okay, go.
Well, just the one, just
Yeah.
the one. A rare case. I'm really not a big fan of public domain. I like the idea behind it is good. I get why it happens and exists, but in a lot of cases of modern day, I feel like it leads to just substandard products.
I'm going to veer kind of in between your opinion and the other opinion, which is I'm not a fan of it in something like the Fleischer cartoons are now in public domain, because that's why the market gets flooded with shitty versions. But if you say Sherlock Holmes, the character, is in public domain, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's different. It's a product that anybody can just Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, and you don't even know what's good anymore, versus like now anyone could write a new Sherlock Holmes mystery. I think those are two different.
Sure. My problem with that is the case of like Mickey Mouse and Superman. I do not want those characters in public domain because they are still owned by the original company who continues to use them. They have used them from the day they were created. They have used them until now. I do not believe these characters should enter public domain. There's no new Sherlock Holmes stories being made by the estate.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like if there's continued to be regular releases of this product in every conceivable medium for these characters, I don't want this stuff to enter public domain. Will Action Comics #1, will Steamboat Willie, who wants to buy some shitty ass Action Comics #1 reprint from some rando company? Like, how would you want that? Why would I want to see a Mickey Mouse thing? So like, the Winnie the Pooh stuff kills me. Because, of course, the first thing that comes out is some horrible, schlocky Winnie the Pooh horror movie. And it's like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, it's embarrassing. You're just an embarrassment. Of course, because it's just the lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Like, that stuff really grates on me. I'm not against preserving that stuff. I think the companies should have. I think the companies have a right, or not a right. I think the companies have a responsibility to preserve their original content. And if they're not going to do it, then someone can do it. I'm actually kind of the opposite. Like, I'm actually more okay with if someone wants to reissue the Fleischer cartoon. Well, if Warner isn't, I guess it's better than nothing. But it does leave generally substandard products. But I don't want to see anyone else touch Superman. I don't want to see anyone else touch Mickey Mouse. I don't want to see anyone else deal with
I think the
Winnie
biggest
the Pooh.
part of that is if it's quality, it will rise to the top, no matter what.
But it's never quality. It's never quality. It's just never quality.
Yeah, in your opinion, that's fine. But quality always rises to the top. So whether or not it's somebody writing a new Sherlock thing, or somebody writing something that's in the public domain, or somebody producing something, sometimes certain versions are preferred because they rise to the top. In the case of like stuff that's come into the public domain, Great Gatsby came into the public domain recently, and comic book industry got a slew of people doing graphic novel versions of it.
Yep.
And they weren't able to do it before. So this is kind of the first time in a long time that we've been able to see the Great Gatsby in a different medium. So is it
anyone
good?
Want that? Anyone asking for that? Anyone want that?
I mean, is it gonna? You've sold a couple,
have I?
You didn't order it?
I don't know. I don't think so. What did I order? Anyway. Conversation.
Hold on. I'm going to go on justcomicnews.com and see if the Gatsby graphic novel has been announced.
Not yet. Not
okay.
Yet.
Oh, it's been in previews a long time ago.
Let's talk about something we can all agree on, that everyone in the world can agree on, and that is the imminent demise of Funko. Please. I slightly joke. But big story for our industry. I will read straight here from ICV2 because they're the ones that actually kind of broke the story as far as I've been able to find. Funko swung to a loss for Q4 in the full year 2022. They plan to cut staff and trash inventory to turn things around. Things turned hard south in Q3 as inventory nearly doubled, margins declined, and the company experienced problems at its new distribution center. Now, they have spent a ton of money on a new distribution center, so that's some of the loss. But the much bigger story is that they have way overproduced. Orders have dropped. They've seen significant cuts from vendors, and as I understand it, they moved their minimum. So to buy direct from Funko, they increased their minimum by some ridiculous amount, basically cutting off the comic and independent toy store industry from ordering Funko Pops.
I know Anna over at Elusive used to order direct from them, and then they raised it, and she doesn't do it anymore.
Yep. So most smaller chain stores or smaller independent stores that ordered Funko Pops in the past can no longer order them direct. They now have to get them through a distributor, which I'm sure, and some people just stopped ordering them, or they cut their orders way back because it's probably worse margins from the distributor, right? They're paying more for the Funko Pops. And I pay very little attention to Funko, but I did look. I went back and looked at their website, and I was like, it's not just the Pops. They have so many goddamn lines at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It is just pure oversaturation, and this eventually was going to buckle, right? Eventually, this was going to all come collapsing down. I think Funko, as much as I don't like them, it's an incredible success story. That one product is just uniform and simple. It's easy. It's cheap, and it's all the power to them. They had a winning model. They had success, and they had to ruin it. I don't need Funko Pop clothing lines. I don't need Funko Pop board games. I don't need 12 other non-Funko Pop Funko products. There's 24 other lines that they have that are like all not this. It's just not the same, right? Why? They had it. They had the winning product. They had the licenses to every fucking thing on earth.
Because the business model is short-term gains are better than long-term stability. Get as much money as you can, as in as short a period of time as you can. Boom, done. Longevity, yeah, we don't give a shit.
Let's see if I can track down the exact quote from someone that tweeted me. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Let me see. I got it right here.
Sorry, I stole your line.
This is from Kevin C on Twitter. He replied to my tweet about this, and he says, "Endless growth in a finite system is the mentality of a cancer cell." So, and that's corporate greed in a nutshell. But specifically Funko Pop, right? I mean, you must gain and grow forever.
Well,
right?
Even setting aside those other lines, and they have a soda also, I think. Like a bottled cola or something.
They have food, They have cereal, they have Halloween masks.
Setting aside that, just focus
shit
on the Pops. Like when you said they have a license to everything on Earth, I believe that is not that big of hyperbole, but some of the stuff that they announce, I'm looking at new Funko Pop of this and this, and I'm thinking like, would you even sell 300 of those on this entire globe? Like, it's so niche, and it's almost like just because you can license it doesn't mean that you need to.
Oh, sure.
They had stuff where you could have a Funko Pop made of yourself. Like, there was a level where you could have it done.
Yeah, but
it was expensive. But
it almost seemed like the business model was, if we get a license to something, that means we have there. Maybe that's in the contract. Give us your license. We guarantee to produce, because they're just cranking out so many. And I'm just looking at some of these things and going, who wants a figure of that? Even if you're a fan of that property, do you want a Duck Dynasty Funko Pop? Like, for just to take one example, I'm sure someone does, but I mean, is there enough of a demand?
A couple thousand people do, and that's all you need.
Maybe that is
right.
Maybe the manufacturing cost is so low on those pops. You sell 1,000, and you're looking like Uncle Scrooge in the gold vault.
I'm sure that's what it is, right? I mean, I'm sure the manufacturing on this stuff is cheap enough. It's uniform, right?
You've got the molds that you can just slightly alter,
right? Yeah. Like all the hard work is done. I mean, they are not printing 1,000, but I think they probably are on the minor figures. You could probably get away with 5,000, maybe 3,000 of a unit of like the lowest end, right? I would think that's reasonable. And then your high end figures are in the 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 range, for the big guys, for the bigger characters. You have, basically lifetime deals to stock at Target and Walmart and Disneyland. And,
I mean, they used to be in those like Loot Crate boxes.
Yeah.
Like, you used to get it.
There's something, speaking of Loot Crate, fuck, that's still around? That still exists?
But like DC
I really don't know. Is Loot Crate around still? It must be, right? I mean, don't know. It must be.
Check. But like those Loot Crate type things, right? Like DC had it, Marvel had it, Star Wars had it. So like they all had those exclusive ones. I mean, well, Brock, the website's still there.
Brock, here's the key question for this topic. How many Funko Pops do each of you own?
Oh, a lot. Shit, I got like,
would you say double digits? Right, double digits?
I got 3. Oh yeah, I got double digits. I got 3 right there. I got an open Batman there. I got a Deathwing from fucking World of Warcraft behind me. And then the rest are in boxes. Ryan's got a couple.
I have bought 6 in my entire life.
But you have them from like the DC crates.
This was very much a it's there it was there in front of someone, so I had them buy them. The 4 Haunted Mansion Funko Pops. And why I didn't get rid of them or sell them or anything like that is I actually got the first editions of them, which are error editions, which go for a significant amount of money because they misprinted them. They sit in my Disney collection because I have a big thing on Haunted Mansion. It's simply because it's Haunted Mansion, right? And this is exactly what I'm talking about, Kevin, right? I have a Nova Funko Pop because it's Nova. He's a character where I'll collect pretty much anything that they make. How many did they make? They probably didn't need to make that many. How many people are out there buying Nova Funko Pops? Probably not that many, right?
I own 10.
I own 10. And I won one in a contest. It was signed, so I kept that.
So 6 6 total, roughly?
Yeah.
So I have 10. So Brock, you're the winner.
Oh yeah, no, I got kids. They have their own box.
Yeah, I assume that's why you would have more.
My daughter has
it's like a kid's product is incredible, right? I mean,
my daughter has like 3 versions of Rapunzel, like Rapunzel's horse, people are tracking that stuff down for me.
I don't hate the concept of Funko Pops. I think the high-end collectability is a little crazy, but okay. I just hate that they have become like the default toy, maybe. Like it does seem like its appeal would be limited, but because of their reach, everyone breaks down and buys that 1 or 2 that they want, right?
It's a little exhausting to wander through some of those conventions and just see walls of them at these booths. And then there's the big ones, the little one, the mini ones, the regular size ones, the gold ones, the Dayglow ones, the blacklight ones.
And that's what I mean.
Dia de los Muertos.
I mean, there's got to be 100,000 at this point, if not more, right? Unique Funko Pops. So they were down end of quarter 4. They were down.
Let me look up DK Publications, see if they have an encyclopedia.
End of quarter 4, they were down $46.7 million. Again, a lot of that does come from some of their internal changes and warehousing stuff. But their Arizona distribution center was so flooded, this is again, quote from ICV2, so flooded with inventory that the company's rental fee for shipping containers, which it used to store inventory that didn't fit in the building, was called as a major factor in the Q4 expenses. So they have a warehouse full, and then they have added a significant number of storage containers outside the warehouse to hold additional stock. So the story here is that they are going to be, I believe the number was 33 million. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it has 33 million. They are going to be destroying over $30 million worth of Funko Pops. They are going to landfill them. They're not going to donate $30 million of Funko Pops to charities across the world. They're not going to have special promotions with major corporations to provide additional units at no cost that the companies can then profit off of. They're not going to do any sort of special, I'm not sure they're doing sale and whatever, but they're going to landfill millions and millions of Funko Pops. That is the world we are in now.
According to Funko, they have over 24,000 products and counting.
Oh, they go way more than that.
I know, but it's just what they've the lists have been updated. So like people are adding to the lists, like on their mobile app or something.
Pops. Yeah, there's way more than 24,000.
Oh, I know, but they don't like.
I think a couple of years back, I was told the internal number was something like 65,000 or 70,000 or something like that. I'm sure it's way more than that now. Of unique SKUs, I'm sure it's way more than that now. I'm sure it's 100,000. Anyway, Funko Pops, whatever. They're not going anywhere, but massive losses for them. We'll see if they can turn this around. Maybe they'll make less. Scale back. I don't know. It'll be all right. Final stories before we get out of here. I thought, did we talk about this the other week? I don't think we did. I had some on my list. I don't think we talked about this because this was stuff that happened during when I was out for COVID, and it was. I don't believe we covered it last week. So correct me if I'm wrong here. But now that Ant-Man is out and not doing great, we have a bit of a revised schedule for some upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We're like, they got to slow it down. They got to slow it down. You talked about this.
I said they got to slow it down. They are slowing it down. So Captain Marvel, The Marvels, has been moved from July 8th to November 11th, 2022. I'm sorry, to
2023.
It's being moved to
2024?
November 10th, 2023.
Okay.
It was originally scheduled for July 8th, 2022, then November 11th, 2022, then February 17th, 2023, and July 28th, 2023. It is now going to be released on November 10th, 2023. So this movie has been moved back a year and a half from its original schedule. COVID-related start, obviously. But
plus, you probably needed it to come out after WandaVision.
Right, which got moved in. Yeah. So we are
and
now... but this is coinciding with comments from Kevin Feige about there just being fewer products. So I believe if you look at the schedule for 2023 or 2024 and 2025, a few of those projects will shift back. And there's a bunch of unannounced stuff for 2025 and beyond. I would think a lot of that stuff won't happen. It's funny because it does seem like we will be heading towards James Gunn's plan of 2 movies and 2 TV shows a year with some of these date movements. Again, nothing is official, but they want to give time. I'll see if I do have the quote here. I do think one of the powerful aspects of being at Marvel Studios is having these films and shows hit the zeitgeist. It's harder to hit the zeitgeist when there's so much product out there and so much content, as they say, which is a word that I hate. But we want Marvel Studios and the MCU projects to really stand out and stand above, so people will see that as we get further into Phase 5 and 6, the pace at which we're putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so that they can each get their chance to shine. Sounds great. That's exactly what you need. Less content, higher quality. Don't just churn this shit out.
Well, and people
this is what it's too fucking much.
Yes, we're not inside anymore.
Much.
Like with COVID, everybody was inside. So giving people content and keeping them engaged while they were inside was what you wanted to do. Now that people are no longer stuck inside and they're branching out, they don't have time for all of this. So they're overwhelmed. And so you just kind of burn them out.
Yeah.
So reducing is good.
You want to do 2 shows a year? You want to do 2 movies a year for Marvel? That's perfectly fine. 3 to 4 movies, 6 TV shows is too much. It's just too much. You've got to let other stuff. You've got to let stuff have a chance to breathe, to make people want more, right? Like if it's just endless, it's meaningless. If you have 5 or 6 kind of, I won't say flops. No Marvel movie has flopped. But if you have 5 or 6, and 4 of those are underperform, like the last, in the last batch, that looks bad, right? And if it's just 1 or 2 a year and one underperforms, I mean, it's not great for the company, but at least it's like, well, okay, we'll move on to the next thing. I think it gives people more of an interest because they're excited for the next thing because it's been a while. They want to see this stuff on the big screen. They want to see the shows. They want to get excited. If it's endless, if you never miss it, and you don't care, and then you miss, and this is the biggest problem: you miss something, you fall off that cycle. You don't go back on it.
You got to really, in my opinion, and again, we're just sitting on a podcast talking about $1 billion empire, but you've got to stop punishing people who don't watch the TV shows. You just can't have it so anchored where it's all just a synergy of you've got to experience every product to get the full story. And they're, it's just like the comics. Fuck off with that. It's not like the comics. Never in the history of Marvel have you had to read everything they publish at a given time to follow one big story. Even the most greed-driven crossovers, you didn't have to buy all the crossovers to follow the story.
No.
And it's just like people are not going to commit. Like somebody might go, I like going to see Marvel movies in a theater. I don't have Disney Plus. I'm making up a person who doesn't have Disney Plus but likes seeing the movies. Well, you're going to walk in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, go, what the fuck's going on?
And see that it still did well. Doctor Strange did really well, right? But you're so front loaded, right, with the success of these. That's probably not great. You want audiences to, but no, look, at Avatar. I don't want to talk about Avatar. So, but Creed that came out this week, right? Fantastic reviews. 3rd movie, best opening of the series, right? Top Gun. These are not. I don't care about these movies, but there are also normal people out there, right?
Yes.
There's other people in the world. Make shit for them too. That's fine. Let their movies. Like Megan did really good. What was the other one? There was that other horror movie that was out recently, right? There was another one that did really good recently.
The reason that this is a stumping question is because there are so many.
Yeah. But they do well, right? So,
but think back to the good old days. You guys just think back to the good old days. Just imagine, and I know I'm the biggest fan on this show of this movie, but I'm just going to say it. Imagine walking into Civil War and you hadn't seen any of the other Marvel movies. You could still figure out you'd be just fine. Imagine seeing the Winter Soldier and you hadn't seen the first Avenger. You'd be fine. Imagine going to Avengers 1 and you hadn't seen any of the solo movies. You'd be fine. Mm-hmm. And we're so far past that point now. I just wish, in addition to the content culling, I wish they'd kind of make a U-turn. And you don't have to go all the way back like it's year 1, but go halfway back.
No. Yeah. The movies, and God, people are going to kill me because I've said this, and I think in every podcast for the last 4 years, the movies need to stand on their own as quality, fun entertainment. The post-credit scene is fun, and I like the post-credit stuff. But that shouldn't be the only reason to see the movie. Their greatest sin with the more recent stuff, the whole movie is now a post-credit scene, right? You're now adding that stuff into the standard movie. If you want to have the little thing at the end, that's super cool and it works really well. And I do like that a lot. It shouldn't be the only good part of the movie, and it shouldn't be the only part people focus on, but that's an audience problem. I'm not concerned about that. The movies were good. The movies did what they needed to do. Some of them I may not have cared for, but they worked as functioning movies start to finish. If you cut out the post-credit scene, you have a movie that works. Most every movie at this point is part of a chapter of another thing, and we can follow it because we've seen them all, but that will affect the general audience to some degree, and in some cases to a very big degree. Now, I don't expect Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to be standalone, quote unquote. I understand this is the third movie with these characters. If you've seen 1 and 2, you should be able to walk into 3 and be able to enjoy it with only having seen 1 and 2. And whatever my problems with Guardians 2, there was nothing you needed to see in there. Right? Like, but if Guardians 3, if like the plot requires you to have seen the Christmas special, there's a problem here, right? So hopefully,
well, that's why
I don't expect that's going to be the case.
That's why I was picking Civil War as an example. A third movie with a shit ton of characters introduces the Black Panther, introduces Ant-Man had his own movie, but introduces Spider-Man. A new villain, has like a rift in the heroes that you would think would be getting along, and all that shit going on in the third movie of the series. You could still make that the first Captain America movie you ever saw. You'd be fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yep.
It can be done.
Like with the TV shows, right? Like WandaVision was like, hey, we're coming out of the movies. See this pretty thing. But then it was like, but it's a connecting tissue to another movie. We had Loki, which is a huge thing coming out. And then look, we're connecting to Kang, or we're connecting to whatever.
I'm okay with the opposite, right? I'm okay with the shows being part of the movie stuff. And that's fine, because I think the shows, the best one so far, I think we'll all kind of agree, was what the hell is it called? Werewolf by Night. Because it was a one-off, it was standalone, it was short, it wasn't connected to anything, it did its own thing.
Well, even She-Hulk being connected was good because it did its own thing with what it had.
Right. She-Hulk, you really didn't, you could have never seen anything else.
Yeah. Bless you.
And you'd be all right. But I think Falcon Winter Soldier, I think the shows have mostly worked as their own thing. Mostly. Maybe WandaVision a little less so.
Loki.
It was like WandaVision, Loki, and Falcon Winter Soldier are the ones I think that suffer from it the most.
Well,
because it's like what happened. But I think Toby asked the question. Sam Wilson has the shield at the end of Endgame. He has the shield at the beginning of, Avengers 4 or whatever. This tells you what happens in between. Why do I need to watch it?
Yeah.
Right. Like it's more of that thing of like, if you walked into Doctor Strange without seeing WandaVision, you'd be like, wait, how did she break bad? Like she broke bad again?
Well, no, that's what I mean. I think WandaVision, it explains itself enough, but Doctor Strange does not explain WandaVision at all.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. The post-credit scene in Ant-Man does not explain Loki at all. I think Loki as a standalone show is actually okay. I think the shows are okay for the most part. They sort of have lived in their own little bit. It's bizarre that the movies would reference them so heavily without any explanation. So I would almost be more okay with the shows being directly tied into the movies, because I think people can assume you've seen the movie and now you're watching the show. But it feels like it's oddly the opposite, where the shows have fed too heavy into the movie. But either way, it just needs to be less. Because if it was less, people might actually watch everything.
Oh, I've burnt out on a lot of TV and movies. Like I still haven't watched Andor. I still haven't watched Willow. I still haven't watched.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
like, there's like a ton of stuff, and I'm just like, I think it was one of the last shows I watched was like Stranger Things, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of just like,
it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. Like, oh no, I watched Yellowstone. Sorry, I finished. I caught up with Yellowstone,
and I assume Gunn will not make the mistake of you must watch Waller to watch The Authority, right? Like, I feel like he understands this. Hopefully, that's what it sounds like he's gonna do. Hopefully.
Well, look at it this way. At the end of, what was it? At the end of Winter Soldier, right? We got the tease of Wanda and Quicksilver.
Well, that's what I said. Like, if you just cut off the post-credit scenes, all those movies in the first 3 phases were like completely standalone.
But that's the thing is the movies are standalone.
Easy enough.
The cutscenes are just there as, like you said, like that kind of nugget that like you wanting more, right? Like, but
the post-credit scenes.
Yeah, the post-credit scenes. But you have like everybody's like, who's that? Because they saw the staff. They saw that guy that was, the minor character that they'd seen before, and they were like, oh, okay, what is all this going on? Now it's just like end credit scenes are just there to kind of like, oh, look, Kang cosplay. Oh, like it doesn't, it's like you watch the movie, now we're just leading into the next cutscene to tease you into the next thing, and it's like, well, I just watched an entire movie on this. I didn't like the cutscene didn't matter.
Post-credit scene.
There is
I know what you mean. There
is a danger of going too far the other way. As much as I'm advocating going backwards, Eternals I can't believe I'm using this next adjective in this sentence, but Eternals as a great example of like major world-shaking events that seem to have not been acknowledged by anything else, any other characters, any show, movie. There is a giant hand coming out of the Arctic Ocean. Nobody's commented on
celestial body. There's what the
well, shit happens.
No, Eternals was, besides completely disconnected, it also just wasn't a good movie, right? So, like, if Kang never showed up in a movie again and had no reference to Loki, that still would have made Quantumania a better movie. It still would have had all the problems it has. It just would have even less problems. It would have less problems than it had because you also don't have to also know all this other stuff. So yeah, Eternals was, and Black Widow picks up from other stuff, but I think that's an enjoyable enough movie in its own.
That's mostly standalone, right?
Yeah. And Spider-Man is extremely reliant on other things, but I don't feel like you have to have seen the original movies to understand what's going on in this.
They establish in the movies themselves. They establish the connection is Iron Man, right? It's Tony Stark. So in the first one, you establish that connection. In the second one, the connection is still there, but remember, Tony's gone at this point, right? Because he was in that was after, no, it was before the blip, but like he's not there anymore. And then in the third one, the second one was after Endgame, right?
Yeah. I'm talking about the multiverse stuff. Like, you didn't necessarily have to watch all the original Spider-Man movies to understand what was going on in the new one. So
yeah, No Way Home, yeah.
But there's
but the movies do a good job of introducing. So like the second one did a good job of saying we lost Tony Stark and people were having memorial services.
Yeah.
So you kind of got the gist of what was going on. So you didn't need to necessarily see those things. You saw the aftermath of what had happened, and they sum it up very nicely and just get on with the movie and into what you need for that movie.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
But yeah, we'll see. 2025, 2026. If it's Avengers and FF and that's it, cool. That's all I need. Do you need more? Do you want? Does Blade need to have a movie? I mean, maybe. But
don't worry.
I am without knowing only what we know right now. I am exponentially more interested in seeing a Blade movie than seeing an Avengers movie with the team that will be in the Avengers. Like if you said, you said, guess what? You can never watch that. I'd be like, okay, cool. because I like my favorite Avengers in the comics and in the movie is, I don't know what you call them, the big three. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like
right.
it's nothing about the actors or anything like that. It's just like I like the Avengers and the Justice League to be the big guns of the company, and the champions, the Defenders, Justice League Europe. That's where you put the weird characters.
Oh, we're very into like Avengers West Coast here, which is great, which is cool, but it's not the Avengers,
right?
All right, yeah, it's another team.
But Avengers West Coast is great because it's a counterpoint to the Avengers. If Avengers West Coast was the only book they were publishing with Avengers in it, not so cool anymore.
Right. But yeah, well, we'll see what that means for the future of the MCU. Well, no, I expect hopefully less, but more. Right? You hope they're better quality, more time, more focus, more focus on the actual product, less required continuity, which would allow more casual fans to enjoy whatever they want to enjoy and not push away people that missed stuff.
This isn't to say they can't sprinkle specials around. Like
I think those are great.
One-offs like Werewolf by Night. And
they should.
I mean, despite the Christmas special being the Christmas special, like having those little things sprinkled throughout, that's fine. Right? Like you want to do a 1 hour one-off about some like a rando character, like fine, cool. Let's,
Yeah. No, and I don't care if they even have a couple shows, but if they have standalone stuff and, it doesn't affect anything else and it's just this one-off story and it's a mini series and that's it and there's nothing else, then okay, that's cool. Like, yeah, do whatever you want. But if you're saying, we've got 6 or 8 ongoing, kind of rotating ongoing shows and there's going to be a new Marvel show every single month in between movies that they're all connected to, like, it's just too much. So yeah, I don't know what this is going to mean for the next couple of years. I don't expect it to change too much, but if we're getting 2 movies a year, I'd be okay with that.
The Law and Order knows there's a point where they have to not have so many shows. They got a lot, but they know when they need to stop.
Yeah,
comics should be the same.
Well, speaking of knowing when to stop, that's right now.
We've solved Funko and the MCU there.
And that's this podcast. Yeah, make it less. Less but better. There you go. That's to everyone out there.
Means
less
special.
But better. Yeah.
Oh, man. Can't wait for that Winnie the Pooh horror movie sequel that they're doing.
No, Brock, you can't wait for the pop of the Winnie the Pooh from the horror movie.
Oh, that's right. They're going to have all the pops of those.
I'm not saying I want more Cocaine Bear, but at least it's something different,
Did anybody watch that?
No. But at least it's something different. It is
something different. Like I actually legitimately watched it. Like I saw that title and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I actually watched the trailer. Going,
Kevin? Did you see this article on Variety that was like, God, in a Variety of all places, they were like, oh God, what was the headline? Like the surprising rise of the mediocre movie or something like that. It's something about mediocre movies. And they're like, oh yeah, there's been like, I think it was like what was that movie? 60 for Brady.
Oh,
What's it called?
Yeah.
80 for Brady.
Where they're like, oh yeah, there's been like these kind of surprise hit of these like kind of mid-budget, non-superhero, non-blockbuster movies. And they're making, a couple $100 million. That's kind of weird, huh? I wonder if this will catch on. People are like, yeah, you mean fucking movies? You mean normal ass fucking movies that you used to make?
Yeah.
Normal movies?
Yeah, normal fucking movies. Yeah.
Regular movies?
Do you know how many movies I watched before comic book movies? I watched so many fucking movies, it was ridiculous. Now, I'm like, unless you really catch me, I'm like, fuck off. Like I walked past the AMC to go to Whole Foods the other night, and they're showing RRR in the theater.
Yeah. Oh, are they?
Like,
that movie's fantastic.
I'm like, that's
it's long, but it's fantastic.
I want to watch it, but it's fucking over 3 hours long.
Yeah,
I don't like. I'm even going. Do I want to sit through John Wick? Like, I think there's, but like I missed the 90-minute, like 110-minute movie where we just get something like one of the, like, I think I brought this up a while ago at the, oh God, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was, I think it had Chris Pine in it, and it was like about a heist and stuff, but like low budget, quick and easy, like really like just good, solid movie. And I was like, man, we need more of these. I don't need something to like fuck my eyeballs as I watch it like every single time.
Jesus Christ.
Well, eye candy's gotten so aggressive lately, man.
And
feel like it'd be taken advantage of.
Marvel Studios and Funko, we thought we knew when to stop, and we kept going.
I was trying. Thank you to all our wonderful Patreon backers, including our newest backers, Luke and Derek at the Lowdown podcast with Luke and Derek. It's on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure you check those guys out. It's a podcast talking about new games and new TV shows as well as movies, all sorts of great nerdy stuff. Just search for the Lowdown with Luke and Derek on Spotify and YouTube. You can find their content on there. Don't forget our other top tier backers with us. Thank you very much, as always, to Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at clearpathcoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. And thank you all at patreon.com/comic conspiracy. Everyone else that donates to us, we do appreciate it. You could go to comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcasts to find all our previous episodes. You can head over to comicsconspiracy.biz to purchase comic books directly from us for mail order or pickup. Lots of good stuff on there. Always new books being added. Head over to conspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog. He updates that from time to time. Charlie's, hey, you'll get back on it. Charlie's Doctor Who podcast called Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. You can check that out. Talking all about the Doctor. Kevin's weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. I believe the Tom King interview went up the other day. I saw
last
that.
week. Yeah.
Last week. Yep.
I read half of it.
Oh, well, thanks for your support. I said, thanks for your support.
Hey, I keep going. I need to get back to that, but I closed the tab and I keep going. Oh yeah, I got to get back to that, and then something else happens.
LeanneHill.com.
Right now.
Well, this week is Katana Collins, who is Sean Gordon Murphy's wife, who's co-writing the new White Knight,
the Joker one, Generation Joker.
Yeah, I just ordered that today.
Yeah. LeanneHill.com. That's my wife's website. You can also visit her Etsy store. Just search for Leanne Hill Art or go to etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. You can see all her prints on there for purchase. And if you're on Twitter, you can follow us, Ryan Higgins Ryan. That's me, Brock Sager, Toby's Toby XI, Charlie's Insanity in Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. And new account at justcomicnews.com. Follow justcomicnews.com for all your comic news, because justcomicnews.com. Maybe we'll get one or two stories tomorrow. That'll be fun. See if people actually read it. Also, Geekbox should have an episode this week. I'll be talking about the Final Fantasy piano concert I went to over the weekend. And our good friends over at Manga Machinations, you can go check out their podcast. Talk about manga.
You're welcome
anime.
for that, by the way.
Did you host a piano concert for Final Fantasy?
No, I worked so you could leave.
I know you did. Thank you very much, Brock. Yeah, it was. It was. Thank you very much, Brock.
I was like, get out. Go to your concert.
Yeah, we got there. Okay, that is it. We'll be back next week. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.